Elizabeth at A Literary Princess. If you are new here, welcome. I am a 6-year PhD candidate in English literature with a focus on Victorian women novelists. And as you might expect, I love to read. Today I am doing the library tag, which was created by BookBuds. I was not tagged in this, but it seemed so fun. I've seen multiple people do it, including Katie from Books and Things, Kelly from Books I'm Not Reading, and I'm pretty sure Hannah from Hannah's Books. And I love it. I love my library and I love going to the library and pretty much anything to do with libraries. So I figured I would do this tag. There are actually 2 sets of questions, one for if you do use the library and one for if you do not. So obviously I'm doing the one for people who use the library. There are 11 questions. Let's jump in. So question number 1 is, how often do you go to the library? So for my public library in town, I go probably once or twice a month. But for my university library, I go every weekday because I work there. I work for my university's writing programs, and we are based in the library. So I literally go to work in the library every weekday. Even though summer is set in and I am not currently working until the beginning of the next semester, I have still been going in 3 days a week because I actually find that the library is the best place for me to work on my dissertation. I also have some friends that are working over the summer in the writing center, so I hang out with them, get some work done, and it's going really well. So yeah, I spend a lot of my time in a library. A lot. Question number 2, do you belong to more than one library system? So yes, I belong to my public library in town and then my university library. And I use them for rather different things usually. So I currently have 2 books out of my public library. Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice, which I am currently reading, and A Guest in the House by Emily Carroll, which I just finished a few days ago. So these are both like very much fun books. I use my public library to get fun books that I'm not sure I want to buy, but that I do want to read. So like, great example, A Guest in House. Graphic novels are super expensive. I know that I like Emily Carroll. Actually, this was a 5-star, but we'll talk about that in the wrap up. It's gorgeous. Hold on, I need to show you some artwork. We interrupt this library tag to give you beautiful artwork. Hold on. Like, oh. So I knew I wanted to read it, but I didn't necessarily want to purchase it because even though I knew I like Emily Carroll, I didn't know if it would really be one that I would want to return to. And again, graphic novels are expensive and I finish them so quickly, so it's like the amount that they cost versus the time I spend on them is not equivalent. So the public library is the perfect place for me to get them. And then Interview with the Vampire I wanted to read, but I didn't think I would want to own it, and I was correct. I do not want to own it, even though I'm enjoying it. So again, the public library is perfect for that. The second system I belong to is my university library. And so this is generally used for my academic stuff. So I have books like The Proper Lady and the Woman Writer, Ideology as Style in the works of Mary Wollstonecraft, Mary Shelley, and Jane Austen by Mary Poovey. So many Marys. So, you know, very academic works. And I have way too many books out of the university library, okay? Like, I could look it up right now, but I don't want to know. I basically have a whole bookshelf here at my house, and then I have probably what amounts to a whole bookshelf in my office at the library. It's really bad. It's really bad. And part of that is because I don't return things. So whereas, you know, at the public library, it's like you have 2 weeks and then you need to return it. The university library, first of all, they let us check them out just for months right off the bat. And then you can just keep renewing them as long as nobody wants them. And I mean, how many people do you think really want the proper lady and the woman writer? You know, people aren't really interested in my like obscure 19th century gender studies stuff. I'm the only Victorianist in my department, so I basically just get to keep the books for as long as I want, unless they're interlibrary loan, in which case I usually have to return them and then immediately request them again. But yeah, I have way too many books from the library. I do need to return some of them. Great example is this one. This is The Way We Live Now by Anthony Trollope. Why, yes, I do have my own copy right here. I got this out of the library last October because it was the Victober group read, and I still haven't returned it. Yeah. 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 You know, it happens. It's fine. So yes, I belong to 2 systems. I used to belong to 3 actually, because I used to also still have a library card in my hometown library, but it expired about a year ago, and they were like, to renew it, you need to show proof of residence in blah 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 town, and I was like, oh, I don't have that anymore. I don't live here anymore. Oh well. But I can get pretty much whatever I want between my university library and my public library. They both have interlibrary loan. They're both great, so I'm fine. Question number 3, what % of books that you read come from the library? So I can actually tell you exactly that for this year anyway, and I could go back and look at last year, but I'm not going to because I'm lazy. I've read 51 books this year, and of those 51 books, 18.9% have been from the public library, and 13.2% have been from the university library. So that makes up just over a quarter of all the books that I've read, which is good because I want to buy less books because my husband doesn't want more books in the house, and I will admit I spend a little too much money on books and we are running out of shelf space. So yeah, it's good. The fact that I have access to the library, to 2 libraries, 2 fantastic libraries, is just great. So yeah, I think that's a really good percentage of my reading that is from the library. And that was a big goal of mine this year, was to read at least 1 book a month from my public library. And I think I've been averaging 2 a month. Question number 4, do you listen to audiobooks or get ebooks from the library, or are you hooked on Audible or Amazon or something else? So I get audiobooks through my public library with an app called Libby. I do not read a whole lot of audiobooks. I have to be in the very specific mood for them. But Libby is a fantastic app for getting them, and I love it. The only downfall is that my public library right now only lets you take them out for 7 days. The library in my hometown would let you take them out for like 21, which is a much more reasonable time to expect me to read a book, especially an audiobook, because unless I am like on a road trip, I only listen to them at very specific times, like when I'm driving in the car or if I'm playing with the cats or doing dishes. So yeah, but Libby is fantastic. I'm so glad I have access to it. And then I get ebooks through my university library pretty frequently. I don't usually read them all in full. That's another interesting thing about my university library reading, is that a lot of times I'm just getting them for like 1 chapter or like a few things, and I'm not reading the full book. But yes, I do get ebooks through the university library, and my preferred platform is ProQuest because they have the best online ebook reader, but sometimes you can't get it through ProQuest, and that's a bummer. I don't really like reading on my computer, and that's how you have to read those ebooks, so that kind of sucks. I do prefer to read on my Kindle if I'm going to read an ebook, so, but it's fine. It's fine. It's just academic work. it's just academic work. But what I mean is like, I'm not reading for pleasure, so it actually is better for me to be sitting at the computer. That way I can take my notes and stuff. Question number 5, did you go to story time at the library as a kid? I don't think so. At least not that I can remember. I did go to the library a lot, like every day, in middle school and high school, because not my library either. It was not my hometown library. It was the town next to my hometown, which is the town I went to middle school in. And my mom worked, so she wouldn't be able to pick me up right after school, so I would walk down to the library and wait for her at the library and do my homework and get books out. But yeah, I know I went to the library as a little kid, but I don't think I ever did story time. Not that I can remember anyway. Question number 6, have you ever borrowed a movie or video game from your library? Yes, and I actually did so not too long ago, maybe like a year and a half ago. I got the first of the newer Spider-Man movies out of the library because it was nowhere on streaming that we didn't have to, like, that we could get without paying for it. And I was like, well, I'll get it from the library. And my husband was like, what is this in the 90s? I was like, hey, don't knock the library. They have a lot of movies. And we have a Xbox that plays DVDs, so it worked out. I don't think I did that. I've done that a whole lot though, even over the course of my life, because when I was a kid, we would go to the video rental store. That was a thing. It was a thing. They had VHSs. Dating myself. But I think I did get a few movies out of the library every once in a while, and I did get some CDs out of the library. I have a very specific memory of taking out the soundtrack for the Titanic so that I could put it onto my iTunes and then, you know, return the disc and so get the whole thing without having to pay for it. Libraries are great. You don't have to pay for it. It's fantastic. Question number 7, have you ever gotten fined for returning books late? If so, how did you feel about that? I think once or twice when I was a teenager at my hometown library. I do remember one time, it was like a few cents, it was like 50 cents. I was like, I won't have a quarter. I'm 15, I rode my bike here. I don't have a quarter. So some person behind me paid for me, which was very nice of them. I mean, like, you kind of feel bad. Like, I'm like, oh, shame. Shame. But, I mean, it's a few cents, like, it's fine. My current public library does not do fines. On the little slips that they give you with the dates, they're like, help us keep our library fine-free by returning your books on time, which I do. And then obviously with my university library, I just keep renewing them. So, yeah. I mean, university libraries will fine you, like, especially if you lose a book. I've never done that. I have friends who have done that, and it's like hefty fine. I would be like horrified if that ever happened to me personally, but I wouldn't do that. Like 50 cents, okay. Like 50 bucks. Question number 8. Do you attend special events, groups, or book sales at the library? I have not in a while, but I did used to attend a yearly book sale. Again, not at my public library, at the library in the town next to mine. Yeah, they did a big book sale every year, and I actually helped at least 2 years with like setting up and stuff. So that was fun, and I bought a bunch of books. Still have a few of those books. My copy of Cujo is from that library sale. But so this year, my public library now does do a sale. And I literally went to the library the day after the sale and saw this sign, and I was like, I want to go to the book sale. My husband was like, no, good, we missed it. But also, like, I do have some books that I need to unhaul that I would like to give to the library book sale. So I am going to make a point to go next year Question number 9, have you ever given or taken a book from a free little library, a book box, or a book swap? So my undergrad university library had like a little shelf of free books kind of right in the lobby that you could take, and I did take a book from there. I don't think I've taken any from anywhere else though. I've definitely never taken one from a free little library, free library, although I think they're adorable. My dad has put some of my old books in them though. So, more rambly story time. This is a very rambly video, sorry. But I had a bunch of books that I needed to unhaul, and there used to be a used bookstore down by my parents. So I was like, okay, I'll go to the used bookstore and then go visit my parents. And I got to the used bookstore and it had closed, like, permanently. It was no longer there. And I was like, what do I do with these books? Because I live in an apartment. I wanted to unhaul them so that I could put my new books on the shelves. Like, I have nowhere to put them. My husband is like, get some books out of the house. So I just brought them to my parents and left them in my bedroom at my parents' house, which horrified my father because he was just so thrilled when I moved out that like most of the books were gone. So he was like, no, this is not happening. So he started keeping a box of the books in his truck, and he would go around to little free libraries and put books in the little free libraries. And he would also, because he's a hiker and he does like group hikes with people. So every group hike, at the end, he would be like, free books if you want any, come browse. And like, he got rid of the whole box of books this way by putting them in little free libraries and by giving them to random hikers. So I have not personally put a book in a little free library, but some of my books have ended up there. Question number 10, bonus. Does your librarian know you by name? No. I don't go to the public library enough for them to know my name. And then the university library, there's so many people that are in and out of there all the time that they don't know my name. They do know me by sight, but yeah, they don't know me by name. So question number 11 is to tag some friends. I am not going to tag anybody because I know a lot of people have already done this, and I don't know who has and who hasn't, to be perfectly honest. But if you would like to do it, consider yourself tagged. And I would also love to hear some of your answers in the comments down below. So, if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more of my bookish content. It has been great chatting with you. I will see you soon. Bye.